They don't yell, they don't hit. They drain your soul in silence. You laugh with them. You cry because of them. And slowly, without even realizing it, you lose yourself thought by thought. Piece by piece. Toxic people don't destroy you all at once. They do it with smiles that confuse and words that cut just deep enough to leave scars you can't see, and you stay thinking it's love. But what if the person you trust the most is the one poisoning your peace? A warning, it's your wake-up call. Asterisk, Chapter 1. The smile that burns, they dan. Tea always come with harsh words or fists that fly. Sometimes the most toxic people in your life are the ones who smile at you while they cut you with silence. They laugh with you, but secretly hope you fail. Their weapons aren't loud. They're subtle, deadly, and invisible to the untrained. So, you'll meet them as friends, lovers, siblings, even parents. They'll wrap their control in care. They'll disguise their jealousy as just being honest. They'll question your decisions, not out of concern, but to make you doubt your strength. Their power lies in confusion. The more unsure you are of yourself, the more control they gain. This is how they operate. They enter your life quietly, but once inside, they rearrange your self-worth. One comment at a time. Suddenly, you're apologizing for things you didn't do. You're explaining your dreams to people who secretly hope they never come true. You stop shining just to keep them comfortable. But here's the truth. Peace doesn't coexist with poison. It's hard to walk away from someone who once made you feel seen. But you need to ask yourself, do they still see you, or only the version of you that serves their comfort? Toxicity doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers sweet nothings while draining your energy. This chapter is your wake-up call. If someone leaves you feeling confused, drained, small, or afraid to speak your truth, it's not love, it's control. And it's time to pull back the curtain and call it what it is. Asterisk, Chapter 4. Emotional vampires, they don't drink blood, they drain energy. Emotional vampires are everywhere, hiding behind charm and charisma. You may not recognize them at first because they don't always bring chaos. Sometimes they bring neediness disguised as love. But every time you're around them, you leave feeling exhausted, confused, and empty. They're the ones who always need saving. Their pain becomes your burden. You spend hours comforting them, fixing their problems, pouring your soul into their bottomless pit. But when you need help, they vanish. Suddenly, they're too busy or make you feel guilty for having needs of your own. Their crisis becomes your crisis. Their mood dictates your day. Q. Learn to anticipate their triggers to keep them from exploding. But in the process, you lose yourself. Your emotional bandwidth becomes their playground. And they never say thank you. Just more. You don't owe anyone your constant presence at the cost of your peace. It's not your job to be someone's emotional crutch, especially when they refuse to stand on their own. Emotional vampires won't stop draining you until you close the door. And that starts with recognizing the pattern. Your compassion is beautiful, but it should not be exploited. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Chapter 5. Red flags you keep ignoring, they interrupt you. Joke about your insecurities in front of others. You notice it, you feel it, but you excuse it. They're just joking. They didn't mean it. Maybe I'm overthinking. No, you're not. Red flags don't need to scream to be valid. The little things you brush off become the big things that break you. A controlling tone here, an insensitive comment there. The need to monitor your every move. It builds slowly until you no longer recognize your freedom yourself. We ignore red flags because we want the good parts to be real. We hold on to potential, not patterns. But you must understand, toxic people don't change because of your patience. They change when you refuse to tolerate their behavior any longer. Stop minimizing disrespect just to keep someone close. Something feels off. It probably is. Your intuition doesn't lie. It whispers, it nudges, and when ignored, it screams. Don't wait until it has to yell. Every red flag you ignore today. 6. The trap of fixing them. You see their pain, their past, their potential. You think, if I just love them harder, they'll heal. But you're not their savior. You're not a therapist. You're a person with needs, limits, and a soul that's slowly crumbling under the weight of trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. They don't need more chances. They need accountability. But toxic people thrive when others take responsibility for their growth. You convince yourself their trauma excuses their behavior, that their love is real, it's just buried. But buried love still hurts. And potential, without change, is still a poison dot. You cannot force someone to heal. Healing is a choice, and you can't bleed yourself dry hoping your love will water someone else's garden. The trap is deep because your intentions are pure. But purity without protection leads to pain. Let go of the fantasy. Face the reality. The best way to help a toxic person is to stop enabling them. Chapter 7. The silent manipulator. Not all toxic people scream or throw things. Some are quiet, subtle, strategic. They use silence as a weapon. Withhold affection to punish. They never raise their voice, but you always feel like you're in trouble. They gaslight you with quiet dismissals. You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. When you confront them, they act, confuse, or worse, make you feel guilty for speaking up. They don't argue. They sulk. They don't hit. They ignore. And somehow, you end up apologizing for feeling hurt. This form of manipulation is dangerous because it's hard to prove. There's no dramatic evidence, just the erosion of your confidence, the shrinking of your voice, the constant overthinking. You start to believe you're the problem, but you're not. Emotional silence is not maturity. It's control. You deserve communication, clarity, connection. If someone makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells without ever lifting their voice, they're still breaking you. Just more quietly, recognize the silence for what it is, a slow, quiet form of control. Chapter 8. Boundaries are not betrayal. Toxic people hate boundaries. Not because they misunderstand them, but because they know boundaries limit their control. The moment you say, "I won't tolerate this," they lose power. So, they shame you, guilt you, accuse you of being heartless. But setting boundaries isn't betrayal, it's self-respect. A boundary isn't a wall, it's a door with rules. It says, "You're welcome here, but only if you treat me with respect." When you start creating space between yourself and toxic people, expect backlash. They will test you, push harder. But don't fold. Your peace is worth more than their comfort. You don't have to explain your boundaries, or justify them, or apologize for them. Boundaries are how you teach people to treat you. Without them, you're an open door for anyone to walk through, muddy feet and all. Choose yourself. Set the boundary and keep it. Asterisk, you deserve better. But first, you have to see clearly. The poison can't kill you unless you keep drinking it. Chapter 2. When love feels like war, love is meant to heal, not harm. But toxic love feels like a battlefield. You step into the relationship hoping for comfort, but you're met with chaos. Every disagreement turns into a storm. Every silence is a punishment. You find yourself tiptoeing around emotions, walking on eggshells just to keep things calm. But true love doesn't require you to sacrifice your soul to keep someone else comfortable. Toxic relationships are often wrapped in passionate highs and crushing lows. One moment you're on a pedestal, the next you're invisible. This inconsistency creates emotional whiplash. You start confusing pain with passion. But chaos isn't love. It's control in disguise. They'll say they didn't mean to hurt you, that you're too sensitive, that you always overreact. But their apologies come with excuses, not accountability. You'll find yourself stuck in cycles: hurt, apology, promise, repeat. Over time, you stop recognizing yourself. You silence your voice. You abandon your needs. Love should not feel like war. You shouldn't need armor to have a conversation. If you're constantly bracing yourself for the next explosion, it's not a relationship, it's survival mode. You must know this. The version of love you accept becomes the version of love you think you deserve. You don't need to fight to be loved. You don't need to earn peace. Real love is consistent, kind, and safe. You can walk away from the battlefield. You can choose peace over passion that burns, because the right love won't require you to bleed to prove your loyalty. You are not hard to love. You've just been loving the wrong person for too long. Asterisk, moral: you don't owe anyone access to your peace. If someone costs you your joy, your clarity, or your self-worth, they are too expensive to keep